There are no strong arguments for God, but I can give one.
I could send
Well, if you don't have arguments you want to defend, I guess whatever.
Well, it's because you haven't seen the gridscape argument. You know what it is.
Wait, who's? Did Benita say it was
that
autistic? What the fuck?
Who?
Is
Me?
Detroit still trolling?
Yeah.
I did call you
I've never told
autistic.
another, but that's clearly incorrect.
Alright, let's
I've never told-
hear the argument.
Hear the argument for why Detroit is autistic?
No. I mean, we don't need an argument for that. But Julian, present the argument.
For the argument for what? What are you asking me to argue for?
For theism, obviously.
This was like asked like what the fuck?
Okay. I'll put something up.
You'll look something up.
He's gonna.
No, I'll put the argument up.
Okay.
Oh.
He's like looking at.
So,
Using Google.
premise one: when something undergoes change, it is caused to do so by something.
Okay.
Nothing can be the cause of its own change, since something cannot have equality both potentially and actually at the same time.
Some modal scope here.
The modal scope of what operator?
Cannot.
Cannot? Wait, what?
When you say
modal
something
operator?
cannot be the case, like what's the modal scope for that?
Modal operator. How is that a modal operator?
Like
I'm
what
not
is the
sure
modal
what
scope?
you're asking. The scope of what?
Are you saying that it's not possible for it to be the case? Like what do you mean by cannot then?
Oh, cannot is just saying that, it's not metaphysically possible.
Right. So there would be a modal scope there, right?
What do you mean by modal scope?
Is that's a yes or no?
I don't know what you're referring to when you say modal scope.
Oh my god. Alright, so the domain under which something's said to be possible or necessary or impossible. So you can have like different modal scopes, like logical modality or physical.
Okay.
Okay. Like was there anything unclear about what I asked?
Yeah, I just don't know what question you're asking.
So what is the modal scope?
The modal scope? This is the metaphysical one. No. Modal
Like
scope.
what's that?
Metaphysical is possibility simpliciter.
I don't know what
Possible
that
in
is.
the broadest sense.
What is that supposed to
So
be?
you could... Wait, what?
Well, I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Well, you can think of it like this. You have like physics, and then you have the things that are like below what we study in physics. And you can think like the laws of nature could have been otherwise, so pigs could fly. But, certainly it's not possible for, like given the physical laws we have now for pigs to fly, but these laws could be different, so pigs could fly. We're talking about possibility in the sense like that.
So I'm not sure, like, how would you prove something cannot be the case under this modal scope?
It would violate some metaphysical law.
Metaphysical what?
It would violate some metaphysical laws, and also if things aren't really conceivable, then we don't have, any defeasible evidence for considering their metaphysical possibility.
What is a metaphysical law supposed to be?
Maybe one example is that things can occupy the same location. They occupy different locations in space or something. That would be a certain example of a metaphysical law.
No, I didn't ask that. I asked what is it?
Oh, they're just laws that basically restrict the domain of the set of metaphysical possibilities.
Okay.
Okay. So is that clear? Maybe then I'll. Premise 3 is that
Well, I'm not sure.
whenever something changes,
I never really
this
granted that. What metaphysical
Oh, okay.
principle does it violate?
There's a metaphysical principle stating that something can't just be potential and then actual at the same time. Because if something's potential, then it's just not actual.
What does potential mean?
Potential means it has some sort of capacity to do something. So for example, I have the capacity to, walk over to my door and open it, and I can actualize that potential by, going over the door and, opening it.
Oh, you believe this act, potency sort of thing. I'm not sure why I would accept that.
Well, I mean, I can give you cases in which I can make the concept clear to you, but if you're just going to reject it,
No, I just said I don't know why I would accept it.
You hear these weird people on Discord not liking Aquinas' metaphysics, then you.
I'm not sure why I would
overboard.
accept it. Like, did you have like an argument for that principle?
Well, I can give you cases in which I think it's clear that things have the potential, and
You could give me like an argument for the principle if you wanted.
The argument is just like an inductive case.
An inductive
I'm not going to give
case?
you like a deductive argument.
Like, could you like lay out the inductive argument?
Lay out, you mean describe to you certain cases in which it holds, and I think the principle is kind of generalizable from that.
I mean, you could have like an argument where it concludes, therefore, this is probably the case, right?
Yeah, but you want me to turn an inductive argument into a deductive argument just for the sake of it?
I mean, I didn't
Is
say
what you're
that.
asking?
Like, what do you think an inductive argument is? I just kind of laid out an inductive argument.
Well, typically, there's like two ways you can give inductive, kind of statements. Is that first way you could, prove something holds in every case by assuming a base case and then doing an inductive step, which you prove it holds for the k+1 case by assuming the
like
k
using
case.
the term in the definition. Okay. Look,
And then the second way is you could say that, look, if I see like 100 ducks in the pond, the next that are all white, the next duck is probably going to be white. That's the second way you kind of use induction.
All right.
Both of those are
Yeah.
kind of inductive style.
So what would that argument be?
The argument would be is that we can sort of observe a bunch of objects that have potentials and then actualize those potentials. Like I gave you the example of I have the potential to walk over to my door right now and I can actualize that potential. Trees have the potential to grow and they could actualize that potential. Same. I mean, these are just like very clear cases of things having.
So when you say potential and actual, potential's capacity to do something actual is just you can do it, like you did it or something.
Yeah, potential has just having this sort of capacity to do something, and an actual is turning that capacity into some real form.
Wait, real form? Like what does that mean?
Yeah, like you could just think about it like if I have the potential to walk over to the door and open it, then I can actualize that potential, go to the door and open it.
I mean, well, you're kind of like using term circles here now. So you said that if you can actualize it, I asked the definition for that. Then you eventually went down to, well, if I go and actualize it, like that's not.
Well, I'm not really giving you a definition. I'm giving you cases that demonstrate the point, so you can kind of get what the concept.
Well, now I was trying to get clear on what actualize meant. And you said it was a real form or something.
Sorry, I think it's best represented through this sort of case analysis that I'm giving. To demonstrate the concept. I don't think me giving you like a more reductive definition would be that helpful.
Wait, so to be clear to everyone, you were trying to explain the concept, right? When you gave that example about opening the door?
Yeah.
You were, right. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you would just say that, like you weren't trying to do that, and you were trying to like prove
I didn't say that I wasn't.
I mean, you just did say that. So I don't know why... Uh-huh. I don't know why that would be informative to just say by actualize. I mean, if I go and try and open the door, right, I've actualized it. Like, how is that informing me of anything?
Because look, it seems like at least I have this capacity to walk to the door and open it, and there's going to be the actualization of that capacity, me doing, going to the door and opening it. This is just a case in which it's kind of intuitive, what we mean by actual and potential, and you can kind of grasp the terms. I also gave you a case in which like a tree grows. Intuitive. Well, I'm saying the concept should be pretty graspable by the sort of case analysis I'm giving.
Well, you said a clear form, right? And I'm not totally clear on what. Well,
you can ditch that and just go off the examples I'm giving.
Okay, so the example you gave to define actualize was to just say that if I go and try to open the door, right, there's a potential, like I could do it, and then I do it, right? The actual is sorry, the potential is actualized, right? That's what you're trying to say. And I'm not sure what you mean by actual then.
What I mean by actual? I told you.
That's right.
What I mean, I told you, I gave you examples of the concept. I mean, if you don't get the concept, maybe you're just stupid or something, but
I mean, you can use that line. I mean, I just don't. Does like anyone get the concept?
In the chat understands. I think everyone in the chat understands Aquinas' metaphysics. Maybe it's just you that.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, see, I mean, maybe it's
well, maybe you could explain what they mean by actual, since they're just like using these term circles. Or not.
This is.
How do you not understand it? You don't?
See, I mean, look, everyone understands it. You're just the idiot here. Look like an idiot.
You use the term in the definition, like.
That's not you can use terms in certain definitions and fine.
Okay, well, that's just kind of how I'm hashing out term circularity just to mean, right? So I don't.
Yeah, but that's not what anyone really means.
That's not what anyone.
Obviously,
That sounds like some empirical. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I mean, yeah, you could use two terms with different senses. You can use certain counterfactuals, which reference something.
What are you talking about now? Look, you can use a word in different ways. That's not going to substantiate your claim that it's not a term circle to use, say, X in the definition of X, right? That doesn't demonstrate your claim.
Look, here's a few cases that I think are unproblematic.
Oh my god!
Like you know how like the debate over defining woman, if they use woman in two different senses, it's not circular. Another example.
You meant like a different sense. Okay, so give me the two senses.
I mean, there's also other examples that I think.
Yeah, so just give me the two senses.
Okay, wait. There's other examples that I also think are fine.
Like that wasn't like relevant. Like you're just saying that?
No, I'm just giving you cases in which it's fine to use.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's a case where it's fine, could you just give the two different ways in which actual is used?
Look.
No.
The other case I was going to mention was certain counterfactual statements.
What the fuck? Does anyone know what they're talking about?
Like if you take it that like modal properties, you said maybe something's defined in terms of certain properties, and you could say that look, if I had died, I would have had experiences. This is even if you don't know exactly what I is, you know something about what they're trying to refer to. And
I don't even know what this is trying to prove right now. Like.
Regardless,
what are you trying to get at?
I wasn't giving you circular definitions. I mean, I was demonstrating a point. I wasn't even giving you definitions.
Okay, yeah. So, like, what point are you trying to demonstrate here?
Oh, I demonstrate the concepts of actual and potential.
When did you do that?
Oh, I gave you examples. I gave you cases. I already told you how I did that.
Yeah, I didn't even know it wasn't clear to anyone what you meant by actual. So, like, you're like demonstrating like gibberish or something. I don't really know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, you could keep on saying that, but I already gave you the cases in which I think it's clear.
You said actual is a real form, and then to be clear, you dropped that definition. Yeah, you dropped the definition, and you went for something else, right? And then you said that by actual, you just mean like, oh, if I went up to the door and there was this potential, I actualized it. So by actual, you just mean like X. Sorry, by X, you just mean something like X plus 1 or something. Like how's that helpful?
Look, that's not what I said. I mean, you asked me like
Yes, it is.
Look. I mean, I gave you cases in which like, I have the potential to open this door. Actualizing it would be me getting up and opening that door. Trees have the potential to grow larger. Actualizing that potential to be them in fact growing larger. I mean, this is the kind of example.
But to be clear, when I asked you, does by actualize you just mean to do something? You said no, right? You said no to that question.
The actualization is going from potential. Right? Well, what it means to be actualized is because you have a certain capacity, and then you take that capacity to the actual, as in like walking over and opening the door or something.
So by actualize, you mean you have a capacity, and then you actualize it. So like by X, you mean X. Okay. Like does anyone know what this person's talking about?
What? Look,
it's like really bad at defining stuff or something.
Taking some potential and turning it into a different form is not exactly using the terms in a circular way, but I don't feel like debating this anymore.
That's wild.
Well,
that was probably the worst thing I've ever listened to.
So
obviously I don't hold to fucking Aquinas' metaphysics.
Yeah, that argument was terrible.
You should have just gave like the modal or the gridscape argument. Yeah.
No, Aquinas is first later.
There's actually no objections to the gridscape argument. So.
That's also true.
That's concession, right?
Concession to what?
On Turnz' behalf, right? He lost.
Yeah, I lost and got destroyed.
Great.
Wait, Julian, do you actually have any arguments in favor of theism, or do you just kind of like not do that?
I don't think any arguments for theism work. I'm always sort of LARPing when I.
My work? What do you mean?
No arguments for that is just that I haven't found any ones that I think are really good.
What do you mean by work?
Work, I mean, like convince people. Don't involve certain controversial metaphysical assumptions. I'm pretty like theoretically virtuous. Like,
Wait, Turnz,
Is there any argument
Turnz
you hold
debate
me down?
against Mustafa.